Adam, before I let you go, I have to ask you this. There in the coming weeks, there's going to be in the Hockey News magazine a interview with former WWE wrestler and current UFC fighter CM Punk, who you interviewed talking about the game of hockey. Tell us how that interview came about.
Well, I mean, I'm 42, so I'm an old guy, but I grew up on pro wrestling, so I have an appreciation for what those guys do to their bodies, and there was always this degree of snobbish entitlement, I think, in the sports media to kind of look down their nose at wrestling and say, it's predetermined, it's fake, it's phony, these guys aren't real athletes, and I think that was that was wrong in a lot of ways. These guys are part of the pop culture, part of the lexicon of the average Joe in the street. So I'm interested in them, and when I saw that CM Punk was a huge hockey fan, it just seemed to be a natural connection to do a story on. So I went through the guys at the UFC. They were quite helpful, and then CM Punk was fantastic. I mean, he couldn't have been nicer. He couldn't have been more accommodating. He couldn't have been more wowed by hockey. You could tell he had a real appreciation as a kid, and throughout the years for the game and for the athletes. And there are a lot of similarities between the athletes. They both work in hockey arenas. They both put their bodies through incredible amounts of pain and play injured. And they wind up being friends. I mean, he's friends with some of the Blackhawks now. So it was a really, really fun interview for me because it wasn't the usual hockey player cliche garbage that we have to kind of muddle our way through in this industry. It was just a guy who has a high profile, who some people I guess have given the reputation as difficult. It wasn't difficult to me. Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been more willing to speak up and talk about his respect for hockey. So any mainstream person who has that kind of respect for what I think a lot of Canadians and hockey fans do in general is fine by me.
I've been blown away about Punk for past couple of years with how much he not only loves hockey, but knows and appreciates the game. So my question next for you, Adam, is I'm surprised no mainstream site like, TSN or NBC in the States has had Punk on as a guest analyst or something, because he's been one of the most polarizing figures in not just wrestling and MMA, but sports in general for the past couple of years.
Yeah, and he's willing to say things. He's willing to say, in an interview with me, that I fell out of love. I stopped following hockey through the lean years in Chicago. I mean, so this is not somebody that's afraid of stepping on people's toes. And I know he's obviously got litigation, or is going to be in litigation with the WWE over some things. I mean, to me, that's a willingness or an indication of bravery, and in some cases, though, I think I guess it depends on the media outlet that you talk to, right? I mean, there are a lot of media outlets that are associated with the league, either broadcast partners or something that the league has their tentacles into in some way, shape, or form that don't always like people coming on the air who they're not sure what they're going to say. And I think so. And I should say CM Punk is somebody who is always going to be his own man. That's his appeal. That's how he kind of established his brand, I think, in wrestling, was, being willing to kind of go off book a little bit. So that scares people in positions of power. And, even a guy like Bill Burr, who I'm not sure if you know who Bill Burr is, the comedian out of Boston. I mean, I always said Bill Burr would be an unbelievable NHL awards host. But the problem is Bill Burr's his own man. Bill Burr's going to go out there and he may say one or two things that offend the crap out of people. The NHL doesn't necessarily want to, they're very, very hesitant to attach their brand to people that they can't count on for a lame quote or to just kind of go and smile and shake hands. And, I think that's one of the reasons, knowing that CM Punk doesn't do that stuff, is one of the reasons why I kind of like the guy.
Adam, just lastly on that, when can we expect to see the article out in the Hockey News?
It's out right now. I think our playoff preview just came out this week. Carey Price on the cover. And it's a 2-page feature. We had some nice layout from our art department. Put in some of his tweets, his hockey-related tweets in there, including one, I guess, where he was with his wife, the now retired AJ Lee, when they were at a Hawks game together, both wearing different Hawks jerseys, hugging each other. So it should be on newsstands and certainly available for our website right now.
All right, Adam, before I let you go, though, just plug yourself, your Twitter, and where people can check out your work.
Oh, sure. I'm not a big self-promoter, but I'll be happy to tell you. I write for thehockeynews.com, and my Twitter handle is Prototype. It's my last name, Proteau, and then type for the little pun. And, you can read me 5 days a week at the Hockey News and in the magazine, and occasionally with some freelance stuff that I do for other places. So more than happy to hear from people that are kind and respectful and decent. And if you're not, I'm more than happy to block you too.
Well, you got to be, if you're not a self-promoter, you got to come out like maybe a little bit like the Hulk Hogan's of the day, like, brother, let me tell you.
I'm more like the Undertaker, where I just have the dark circles under my eyes and sit up very slowly and
got an amazing streak going.
And hope to keep. Well, I was going to say I hope to keep coming back for years and years and years like that.
Adam, a pleasure to talk to you. We'll hope to get you on again soon, as these playoffs are going to be wild and entertaining as always. So, Adam, thanks for coming on, and that's going to do it for this edition of the Jason Hagum Sports Experience. Peace out, and have a good day, everyone.